The crazy story of Petite Dragon in Yu-Gi-Oh! Petite Dragon was a small low-level normal monster who was apparently known for its vicious attacks. And it was also part of a group of other low-level non-effect monsters called the Normal. And this group was very weak and did not win a lot of battles. But they did never give up, a trait that Petite Dragon would carry on for the rest of its life. Now at some point, Petite Dragon would be captured by Win the Wind Charmer, who trained it as one of her familiars alongside this small rabbit creature. And the two had grown power together, with Petite Dragon eventually becoming large enough to wrap itself around Win and allow her to fly. And Petite would eventually even grow into a full-size dragon, who is now known as Ranryu, and this is where the story gets crazy. While the relationship between Ranryu and Win might have started off pretty wholesome, eventually it got pretty bad, with the Charmer pushing Ranryu too far, causing him to turn into forms that looked more demonic than dragon. And it's at this point that the familiars under the Charmer's control would actually become unpossessed and leave them for good. Which is why in the modern cards, Win can only be seen with her little mouse creature and is no longer in control of Ranryu. Now having freed itself from its master, Ranryu set its sight on becoming more powerful on its own, causing it to seek out the legendary plant Firegrass, which is said to give fire-breathing abilities to anyone who eats it, which to a wind-mastering dragon like Ranryu, who can't breathe fire, sounded pretty appealing. But consuming this plant would have dire consequences, as it transformed Ranryu into the Dark Fire Dragon, a dragon whose mastery of the fire element eventually caused it to be a part of the Five-Headed Dragon. And there it is there, part of the most powerful dragon creature to ever exist. But if you know anything about the Five-Headed Dragon, you know that it was eventually slain by the Dragon Master Knight, who took the spirit of Ranryu and sealed it into the legendary sword Salamandra, which is the sword wielded by the Flame Swordsman. And you'd think this would be a sad ending to the story of Ranryu, but it turns out the Flame Swordsman is a really cool owner and even fuses his body with Ranryu to create one of the strongest warriors ever, the ultimate Flame Swordsman. But it gets even better than that, because the Flame Swordsman even allows Ranryu to leave the blade and fight on its own as a creature known as the Fighting Flame Dragon, who even has its own sword.